Okay? 2 Kings 5. The Bible tells the story of Elisha, the prophet, Elijah's protege. Elijah is off the scene. Elisha's on the scene. There is a general in the Syrian army who has heard that in Israel there is a prophet who can speak the words of God. This general in the Syrian army has leprosy and is going to die. He is one of the most famous generals in the bloodthirsty, killer Syrian army, full of Gentile soldiers, led by a Gentile general named Naaman. And Naaman comes into the land of Israel and he inquires after the man of God, and someone says, I think it's probably the guy. Actually, he's told about it from a little servant girl because he took a Jewish slave girl in with him during war, and she's living in his house, and the little slave girl goes, oh, I wish you were back in Israel. There's a man of God there that would know what to do for you. And so Naaman gets on his horse and takes a bunch of gold and silver and jewels and rides to the foothills of Elisha's house and calls out to Elisha to heal him, and the servant comes to Elisha and says, there's a general here who wants to be healed. What do you want me to do? And Elisha says, tell him to go dip in the River Jordan 7 times. And the servant comes out to the Syrian. I keep emphasizing this because I want you to realize that he's not a Jew. The Syrian general Naaman. And the servant comes out to the Syrian general Naaman and goes, go dip 7 times. And Naaman goes, come on, the Jordan River is the dirtiest river in the whole world. Why would I dip in the Jordan River? And his servant elbows him and goes, if he had asked for money, you'd have gave it. Why don't you just go dip? And Naaman goes, yeah, what I got to lose? Rides his horse down to the Jordan River, jumps in, gets out, jumps in, gets out, jumps in 7 times. That's a Jewish number, not a Gentile number. He feels like an idiot. Right. The Jews do things in 7s, complete numbers, but he does it. That's what their God told him to do. Why not? What I got to lose? I'm going to die of leprosy anyway. When he comes out the 7th time, his skin is pure and white, and he is completely restored and healed of his plague, and he tries to send the money back, and there's a story. Elisha won't take it because he won't be bought off. And what has happened is that a Gentile general has been healed of leprosy in the waters of Jewish Jordan. When Jesus chooses 2 stories to tell in his hometown of Nazareth on a Saturday morning, after proclaiming, the Spirit of the Lord is upon me, for he hath anointed me to give you Jubilee. Today, Jubilee. And everybody goes, wow, he's the one. Not so fast. Here's a couple stories, because my idea of Jubilee is not your idea of Jubilee. See, you think I came to take Rome off your back, give you your property back, take all your debts, clear your name, and make you happy. He says, but let me share you a couple stories about my dad's heart. My father's heart has never been only for the people who call him daddy. His heart has always been for those who don't have any right to call him daddy. And he goes, in case you think I'm wrong, let me give you a couple stories. And here's how Jesus pitches it. He goes, were there not enough widows in the land of Judea that God would send his prophet not to a widow that's a Jewish widow, but he would send him to Sidon, to a Gentile's house, to deliver her and her child from hunger? Why didn't he send Elijah to a Jewish woman? And while you're chewing on that, let me give you another story. One time there was a general of a Syrian army. Remember those guys? Your parents and grandparents have been telling you stories about Syria your entire life, those bloodthirsty devils. And one time, one of their best came to God's man and asked for a healing. Now I ask you, were there not enough lepers in all the land of Israel that God couldn't find a good Jewish boy to heal of leprosy? That he had to make the one leper he healed in the entire Old Testament a Syrian? You go, what in the world does that story mean? Put yourself in the mind of that first century Jew who's waiting on his Messiah. My Messiah is coming, and when he gets here, they're going to pay, man. He's going to break Caesar. He's going to crush Rome. He's going to knock the opposite political party out of power. He's going to put our people in there. We're going to run the show. We're going to make the laws. We're going to rule the roost. We're going to own the land. We're going to do everything God's been wanting us to do. And it's all in the name of God because they're good, godly people, right? Of course they are. They're God's chosen. God's sending us a Messiah, and that's exactly what He is going to do. And Jesus goes, hold your horses just a second. My dad doesn't think the way you think. When dad wants to heal a leper, he don't care if it's a Jew or a Gentile. When dad wants to bless a widow, he doesn't care if it's a Jew or a Gentile. Or maybe he does. He goes, because you think it all belongs to you. There's a few times in my dad's history where he picked a Gentile on purpose. See Elijah, see Elisha. Jubilee is for more than just you. And when he said that, the crowd turned. 6 verses. That's all it took. 6 verses to transition from, wow, what a Messiah, to, if he goes outside of this house and preaches that message, he needs to die. We cannot let this be the message of the kingdom, that everybody gets in. Yes. We can't let the adulterous woman hear this. We can't let the tax collector hear this. We can't let the Roman centurion hear this. We can't let Pontius Pilate hear this. These people need to die. These people need to pay. Jubilee is for all of us who do the right thing, who know the scriptures and who pay our tithes and who come to synagogue as is our custom. Yeah. We are excited because we have found our boy. But if you think you're going to go outside of this room and act like the Naamans and the widows of Zarephath are on the same level as we are, buddy, we'll push you to the edge of a cliff and knock you off into an abyss faster than you can say your own name. We will not back a Messiah that includes the other. Right. So why did they turn in 6 verses? Because Jesus did it on purpose. The moment you get excited that you've got your man, God will step in to show you who the man belongs to. And it ain't just you. Those who look like you, sing like you, read like you, fast like you, go to church like you, pray like you, dress like you, act like you, quote verses like you. They are not the only ones, and that's going to tick us off if our custom is a religion that has clouded the loving face of the Father. It's going to tick us off so much, and this is tough, but this is Luke 4. It's going to tick us off so much, we'd rather that Jesus die than save people we can't stand. We'd rather shut that message down than include people that cannot possibly be included. They can't count the way we count. They haven't done what we've done. They haven't prayed what we've prayed. They haven't acted as we've acted. They haven't sacrificed what we've sacrificed. They haven't been persecuted like we've been persecuted. They haven't been in church their entire lives, every night, every day, seeking God. They didn't skip out on the dances and the parties. They didn't miss the stuff I missed. I gave up so that I could have more of Him. And you mean to tell me that when He declares my Jubilee, He declares it for Naaman? A guy who heard what his healing looked like and complained that the river was too dirty. Or the widow of Zarephath, who when she heard about God, she doesn't call Him my God, she calls Him your God. Because the entire time Elijah's living in her house, God isn't her God. God is Elijah's God. Why didn't God move on to someone who cared?